Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome into another edition of Sports Junkies. Time to talk some Bucks basketball. Steve Sparky Fifer from Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. Gery Woelfel from the Racine Journal-Times. Larry Sanders playing better as of late. A 25 and 15 point rebound game coming up, and a loss to the Denver Nuggets, the last game that the Bucks played. And obviously some momentum starting to build for Larry Sanders, which is a good thing because regardless if they trade him or not, you need Larry Sanders to be playing at a high level for this team to be successful, whether it be the rest of this year that's pretty much lost or going forward in the future. Now the question is, can he sustain this? Because last year he sustained playing at this level.
Well, can he sustain it until the February 20th trading
deadline? Weeks out.
So, I mean, he's definitely on the bubble. I mean, he's definitely out there in trade conversations. And if the Bucks are committed to moving him, which I think they are, they want more games like this.
Absolutely.
Because his stock right now is at an all-time low. I mean, there's not a team out there that's going to give him anything of substance for him.
This is the other thing I want to know. I mean, you've got all these different guys that are up to be traded. Outside of Giannis, everybody else could pretty much be moved. I still don't think they trade Henson, but regardless, anybody could be moved, right?
Right.
All right, having said that, what, in your opinion, in talking to people, are the Bucks' #1 objectives in what they want in return when this deadline is all said and done for these players?
They want draft picks or they want young players. I think they're pretty firm about that.
Those two things.
Yeah, those two things. Now, would they take on a veteran player? Yeah, they could take him on as an asset with the idea that, hey, maybe they'll move him, this summer again or something. But their primary focus is to get draft picks and to get young players.
Are they position-specific with the young players? Like, are they looking at, say, shooting guard where they don't have a young shooting guard going forward? Say whatever you want about O.J. Mayo, but I'm done with him. So, a young shooting guard, I think right now has to be a priority unless, you draft a Wiggins and say he's going to play shooting guard, but they don't have one right now.
Yeah, and I'm not convinced Wiggins is a shooting guard, I mean, and first of all, you got to get Wiggins to fill that spot.
Absolutely, and going into the trade deadline, there's no guarantee.
So, I mean, the Bucks got to go for the best players they can possibly get in any position, and they can always make that adjustment after the season, because this season's lost.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Just get the best players you can get. You can always use them, in trades during the off season.
The other thing that I want to ask you, I brought this up on the air last night on our Pickett State Basketball postgame show on SSP, and I didn't bring it up to you because I forgot. But I would assume that in the offseason, before the Bucks gave Larry Sanders that money, that there had to be some type of meeting involving the Bucks front office, and I would have assumed, and I don't know, I'm just assuming now, that Larry Drew would have been involved in these meetings, #1. #2, I would have assumed, and again I'm assuming, that Larry Drew would have watched tape on what Larry Sanders and John Henson look like playing together, side by side, would have made his assessment, would have told John Hammond what he thinks, and then made that deal. I don't think you sign Larry Sanders to that deal if you do not think that Larry Sanders and John Henson can play together. Because right now, it's evident Larry Drew doesn't like them playing together, and now has Henson and Zaza together, and has Sanders playing with Ersan Ilyasova, and has had Ersan with Sanders for a long time. And I know why, because he wants a stretch floor with Larry. And I get that.
And that's part of it. The other part of it is from a physicality standpoint.
No,
I'm talking about Henson and Sanders have basically the same body type. Sanders is more muscular, he's more mature, but there really isn't a lot of difference. I mean, there's a lot of people in the NBA who are convinced Larry Sanders' best position is power forward.
And he played power forward last night next to Zaza.
And that wasn't by mere coincidence that he had one of his best games of his career, because he was playing off the ball and he didn't have to really worry about getting physical because Zaza did it. It's an it's an interesting tandem, but the problem is going forward, you're not going to have Zaza long term. So I mean, if you're the Bucks, you got to look at it and say, hey, how long is Zaza going to be our starting center?
Well, then, okay, this is my next question.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a good journalist and follow up. If Joel Embiid is the starting center. They draft Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody, oh, he's the next Olajuwon, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, who knows how good he's going to be. But the point of the matter is, offensively, he's got some game around the rim, more than Larry does at this point. So, and he's only been playing for 3 years. If Embiid is your starting center,
Right.
can Sanders be the starting power forward?
Sure. Why not? I mean,
Because he doesn't have a game that would be complementary of that big guy inside.
I agree. You're going to have to readjust your game. I mean, you can play basketball in a myriad of ways. I mean, that would be a unique way. You'd have a low post, tandem. I wouldn't advocate it.
Well, no, he's not a low post threat at all.
No, but you got
Larry Sanders.
He's not an outside threat at all.
Right.
So both of them are going to be around the basket type players. So, and in today's NBA, that doesn't work. It's a perimeter spread offense type system. So,
but if you look at, I'm going to use Memphis, with Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph, that for the most part has worked. Now, Randolph does have a mid-range game. He can shoot the jumper, and he can bring outside and do it. But he'll also play with his back to the basket.
Oh, sure. He's a power guy.
And you have two guys that are physical and cloggers that can play underneath together.
Right, exactly.
So there's an example.
It's like everybody goes, oh, you need a true point guard. If you look at the Portland Trailblazers and you see Mo Williams and Damian Lillard, you'll go, who's the true point guard? Or when they throw Wes Matthews into the mix. Mm-hmm. None of them are really true point guards, but they play very well together, and I think that's what the Bucks are going to have to do going forward. Instead of being hell-bent on getting a true point guard, just get the best backcourt player you can find and divvy up the ball handling duty.
Going off of what you just said, I believe Nate Walters is a true point guard, and he's been playing in the backcourt with Brandon Knight, and that's been the starting backcourt.
Right.
I like it. I'm fine going ahead with it for the rest of this year. Do you like it?
I do. I like Walters. I like what he brings to the table as far as from a team standpoint.
Right.
But again, he has problems with the quick points. You put him out and expose him on top, you're in trouble, and teams know that, and the Bucks certainly know that. So I think ideally, in the perfect world, Nate Walters would be a great combo guy to come off the bench, and at some point, the Bucks are going to have to address it at the backcourt spot.
The other issue, talking about this team that we really haven't addressed most of the year, is this coaching staff. Mm-hmm. And not Larry Drew, but Scott Williams, Nick Van Exel. Mm-hmm. You've got some other coaches.
Bob Bender.
Bob Bender, obviously, who's been with Larry Drew for a long time, too.
Sure. Jim Clemens, we can't forget him.
I feel sorry for him. I can't even imagine what he's thinking going through this season right now.
Yeah, you know what?
All the teams he's been on and the success that he's had, to be stuck here.
That's funny that you mentioned, because I talked to him the other night, and he said he's very happy to be here. He really is. He loves coaching in the NBA, and he understands this is a process.
Translation, I'll coach anywhere in the NBA.
No,
because I've been in Milwaukee coaching a 9-win team.
Yeah, no, he's not happy about the winning at all. But the point is, he gets it. He sees what the Bucks' big picture is. Now, whether everybody else in the organization continues to see it, who knows? We've seen this before. Remember when...
Now, see, can I just point this out?
Yeah.
Now, he's been a head coach before.
Sure.
All right? I'm fine if your transition guy is going to be him. If your transition guy is going to be him and to get this team from point A to point B with some other coaches, I guess I'm okay with it. Now, it's not ideal for me. Ideally, I'd like a young coach that relates to college players and the guy in Brad Stevens in Boston. I'm okay taking a gamble on that.
Oh, absolutely.
The problem is Herb's not going to want to pay all that money to bring a college coach here.
No, that's totally not true.
Gary,
I mean,
I'm telling you right now.
He'll pay for whoever he thinks. I mean, he did it with Dunleavy. Everybody was besides themselves.
And looking back, that was stupid.
Oh no! Listen, I mean,
yes, it was.
He was a high-profile coach.
But you didn't have everything in place in order to pay him that much money. That was a dumb
but
decision.
he was also the GM. I mean, George Kyle. Whoever thought
that was smart?
Yeah.
No, but there's difference here. No, there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference. Let me explain my point. I'm not saying he won't pay a coach to come here.
Right.
My point is he's not going to spend all this money for a team that's not going to be very good regardless of who the coach is. I'm not going to pay $75, $6 million a year when I can look at my team and go, we're going to win 20 or 30 games for the next couple of years. I'm not going to spend all that much money on a coach. I'm going to get a guy at minimum that's a good teacher that can teach these guys, and then when I feel like, okay, we're ready to go compete in the playoffs, now I'm going to go get my home run for them.
Exactly. And I'm a big proponent in hiring great coaches. I really believe contrary to what everybody else believes, great coaches will impact teams.
No question.
And you see what happened in Denver with George Karl. They let George Karl go.
Not the same.
Denver's just another team right now.
That team really needs some type of post player in the middle.
Oh, absolutely. But, I mean, George did wonders with that team.
Yeah, he did.
Last year, Lionel Hollins did a fabulous job with Memphis.
Agreed.
But because he was not into the analytics stuff, we got to change. We got to move forward. We got to get better. They didn't move forward. They moved backwards.
One other thing before we wrap this up, because I want to get this on video. I've said it on the radio, but I want to make sure it's on video.
This is for the record.
For the record. I predict Russell Westbrook will be dealt this offseason. I want this on the record. So when it happens, we can go back and say, hey, look at that, Sparky called it. He will be moved this offseason.
Wow, that's
fascinating. If you look at this basketball team right now and how well they're playing, and Reggie Jackson's a young kid that's playing really well at the point guard position and being able to run that offense. Durant's playing well. Last night after the game, they asked Kevin Durant about the fourth quarter, how he didn't take many shots. He said, look, this is a team.
Right.
He goes, we had other guys hitting shots. Cephalosha hit a big three for them last night. He goes, we move the ball around. I don't have to take all the shots. I'm not the only player on this team. And I'm telling you, when Westbrook comes back, this thing is going to just blow up. And when it happens, that's going to be the end of it. And they're going to get something for Russell Westbrook. His stock value is still high.
I don't dismiss that possibility. What I will say is that the big rumor going around the NBA is that Westbrook, when his contract is up, is going to L.A. because he played at UCLA.
Sure.
Along with Kevin Love. Okay? And here's the kicker. There are some people, now a small group at that believe Kevin Durant will follow him.
No.
Yeah, that they could possibly get all these guys to go to LA.
I think Kevin Durant right now is realizing how nice life is without Russell Westbrook. I think he's realizing right now this is kind of cool not having that score first mentality point guard on the team. Now I can be the guy, and my pieces around me are good enough. Ibaka's having the best year he's probably had of his career right now.
I know, but
taking Westbrook out, Reggie Jackson isn't necessarily your prototypical point guard, but he's playing the position well enough. I'm telling you, I think Durant's kicking back. There's no stress, not having to deal with him taking 100 shots in a game, Westbrook, and he's kind of digging this.
I agree. It seems like the perfect story that he's in Oklahoma City, he's happy there and everything.
And they're winning. Look at their record.
But you know what? Eventually the bright lights get to all these guys.
I don't think so.
And I guarantee you, somewhere in his career, he's going to end up in L.A.
Well, either way, he's been in Oklahoma City a lot longer than anybody thought.
Absolutely, that's my point.
So no matter how you look at it.
And his agent now is Jay-Z. Do you think Jay-Z's happy to go to Oklahoma City to watch him play?
I don't think it matters.
Oh, I do. I
don't think if you're LeBron it matters, and I don't think if you're Durant it matters. And I don't think if you're Michael Jordan it matters.
I hope you're right. I really do. Because
I don't. Now, if you're Russell Westbrook, it probably matters.
Oh, it does matter for him too.
No, not just for him. He's not at that level.
Oh, no.
I mean, if Kevin Durant played in Milwaukee, he'd still be a superstar. If LeBron played in Milwaukee, he'd still be a superstar. If Russell Westbrook played in Milwaukee, not as many people would talk about Russell Westbrook.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's part of it. So I get that. Don't get me wrong. But when you're at that level and you're that good, it doesn't matter what market you're in. You're going to get the shoe deals. You're going to get all the opportunities you want. Jay-Z, his deal is he's going to get him a chance to be in movies.
Absolutely.
He's going to get him a chance to, run his own club or whatever. I mean, that's kind of what Jay-Z does. But he doesn't have to be somewhere else. He doesn't have to,
But I like your idea. I mean, if Oklahoma City knows that Westbrook is out, and by all accounts that he is eventually going to be out, trade him now.
Let me ask you this.
Get as much as you can.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. Lakers end up with 1, 2, or 3 in the lottery,
draft, sure.
Right? I'm going to go nuts. But let's say that happens.
Yeah.
And Oklahoma City says, we'll give you Russell Westbrook for that pick. What does Lakers do?
That's a tough call.
Lakers go, done. Kobe Bryant goes, done. Because he gives me a chance to win right now while I'm still here.
That's true.
Done. And then if you're Oklahoma City, now I get Wiggins or Jabari Parker to pull with Kevin Durant. Done.
Or Embiid for that matter.
Because, the thing
can you imagine Embiid with Durant?
Right. You get him on true center.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Adams is a nice player. Jeremy Lamb's a nice player.
Right. But they're not that level.
But they're not like that.
Exactly.
So there you go. You heard it right here on RacineSportsZone.com.
Mark that down. So it's not going to happen.
I'm telling you what.
No.
If I was Oklahoma City, it makes all the sense in the world for them.
It does.
He's Gery Woelfel. I'm Steve Sparky. Fifer, thanks for tuning in to another edition of Sports Junkies, talking Bucks basketball and a little Oklahoma City basketball too. Right here, RacineSportsZone.com.
Sparky brought the thunder.
Oh! Talk to you next time.